Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor, your weekly go-to show to find you those big Saturday winners. And this week we have the last big domestic flat meeting of the season, well, the episode that we're going to be covering for the year anyway, because we look ahead to British Champions Day at Ascot. Of course, all live on Sky Sports Racing, where we have group races aplenty that I'm going to be previewing alongside Declan and Sam Boswell. Lads, great to see you both, looking very smart, of course. Glad to see that we've all dressed up for the occasion. Now, Dec, we've got some fantastic races to look forward to, but of course, we've been snookered to an extent, haven't we? Because as we record on Friday morning, we still don't know which track the round courses are going to be run on. Yeah, exactly. It's not ideal not knowing, unfortunately. Look, Ascot are doing their best. The weather is playing absolute havoc, unfortunately. I'm going to blame the Jumps boys because they wanted rain and now we've got it. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, how it all plays out. Just keep an eye on things. But before we kind of move into the previews, we've got to give Kate and Elle a nudge for the 12-1 winner last week.
Some effort, Kate. Well done, you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
She's the form horse coming into this week's show, so well done.
Hopefully we can maintain it. I appreciate that. I promise you I did not ask Dec to say that.
She did.
I appreciated it all the time. But Sam, though, Dec just said there about the ground. Now, of course, we still have plenty of unknowns, of course, going into tomorrow's action, don't we? But what approach were you really taking at this stage?
Yeah, obviously anyone watching this ahead of that decision being made potentially just have to understand we're working with what we can. I do feel for Ascot. I think they've communicated very well with the public. I'd like to see the rules change so they can make the decision a little bit earlier. I think the 5-day stage is the perfect time to do it. You know, anti-post punters, they have a tough enough time of things with injury and issues with horses, picking races, that kind of thing. I don't think we need to add this into the mix going forward. I'd like to see that rule maybe changed to give Ascot an easier way of building up to it, because they are governed by what they have to do, which is have this independent panel make the decision should heavy appear in the going, which is the process. So fingers crossed next year maybe we can change it, because it's going to be a reoccurring theme, I suspect.
Certainly. So
yeah, even if it was done at the declaration stage, that'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone would understand that. Everyone knows the position that Ascot are in. Of course, at this time of year, it's very difficult. But at the same time, to help punters and for fans alike, it would be good to know exactly where we stand, even this close to the day. Right, before we get stuck into the previews, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Anyway, right, on with the action. Now, we're going to be beginning with the second race on Ascot's card. This is the Group 1 British Champions Sprint Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs at 150. Kinross bidding to win this race for a second year running. He heads the betting. So, Dec, can Kinross give Frankie Dettori a Champions Day send-off, or what was the play, please?
Yeah, I think he's obviously the most likely winner, as the market suggests. The ground's going to come good for him, isn't he? He's pretty ground versatile, this horse. But I started the season putting up Run to Freedom, and you know what, I'm going to finish it. He's not even on that graphic there. He's 25-1 for the Candy Man, Henry Candy. I do not get why he's such a big price. He finished ahead of Kinross in the July Cup. He was second to Kinross in this race last season. I think for all his form is hit and miss, he's marginally a better horse this year, and I've always felt that an ease in the ground suits him quite well. Now, whether or not the ground on Saturday is too soft, that's another thing, but at least we're getting a big price to find out. He's got course and distance form. The Henry Candy Yard, their horse has been holding their form really well all season. I think he's drawn in 5. He's banging amongst the speed. So I think he's set for a big run. I just do not get why he's 25-1, given he finished ahead of the 13-8 favourite in the July Cup. So yeah, we're going to go with one Run for Freedom to finish off the season.
You have been wearing those Henry Candy pyjamas the whole way through the season, so I'm pleased that you've done the full circle now and come back for Run to Freedom. Then for Dec, Sam.
Yeah, good news for Dec with 4 places on the race, and I think he's going to need it with his selection, if I'm being completely honest. But fair play, sticking by your horse and your man. I like it. I'm also taking on the favourite here, Kate, and it's with the horse that's beaten the favourite as well in the past, and Sandrine, who obviously has been put in his place by Kinross this season, but you go back to the win at Goodwood last season, I was pretty taken with that, and listen, this year's been a little bit hit and miss. There was a couple of crossbar efforts, but then bounced back to winning ways in a very easy Group 2 up at Donny last time out. We're just seeing the pictures there of Oisin Murphy going to victory. Then he rides the horse again here. The concern for me would be the fact that the draw, obviously a high draw, maybe not ideal. But then that said, last year's winner came from, I think, 17 and my horse is in 15. So I'm not going to be overtly worried. Handles the softer ground. So if we end up with very heavy soft ground, I think that's a plus for my horse. 8 to 1, 4 places. I just thought the favourite's just a little bit too short for me.
I always think in these sprint races, kind of given when we haven't had a race beforehand, we don't know where they're going to race on the track. It's very hard. Like last year, I wanted to take on Kinross because I thought he was drawn on the wrong side of the track, and he ended up winning. So it's been a theme for me anyway at Ascot this year. I haven't had a clue where they're going to race on the Ascot. Yeah, it's been really tough. So I'm hoping my horse drawn in 4 will get a better run through than his in 15.
Yeah, so we've gone for a low draw, a high draw then. Now, I'm being pretty unoriginal. I'm with Kinross here. He has been the standout 7 furlong performer yet again this season. A horse that has done me so many turns already this season. For all he was beaten last time out over the 7 furlong trip in the Group 1 Prix de la Forêt. But I just thought he was fairly unlucky in that, where Maxime Guillon on the winner, Kalina, he was a bit cheeky, but solid race riding all the same, even if it was just on the limit. But that put paid to Kinross's chances of winning a Forêt for a second year running. Despite that, he still ran a mighty race. The drop back 6 furlongs, we know, does not inhibit him. He's ground versatile and he sets a clear standard in not a vintage renewal of this race. So hopefully Kinross can give Frankie Dettori a nice send-off winner. Not much juice in the price, admittedly, but I just think that Kinross wins. So Deck, just to reiterate.
Yeah, Run to Freedom for me, especially if he takes the preliminaries well.
OK, so make sure to watch out for that. And Sam?
Sandream each way.
Right, OK, 3 different selections in our opening race. Do let us know your own selections in the comments section below. Now, before we move on to our next race, if you are enjoying the show, and we really hope that you are, do remember to subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel and also hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Right, next race, because we move on to the Group 1 British Champions Fillies and Mares Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over a mile 4 at 2:25. Frankie Dettori looks to have another good chance. He takes the ride on Free Wind, who bids to bounce back from a nothingy sort of run in the Arc last time out. She's the 100 to 30 favourite. But Sam, who wins it for you?
Yeah, I want to take on Free Wind. I know Frankie and John Gosden have had a good record in this race in previous years, and I just wanted to side with the younger horse. And if I was handing out awards for towards the end of the flat season, I think Blue Stocking wins the sort of Underachiever of the Year award. An incredibly frustrating horse in so many ways, but also very talented. We've just watching the run here at Chester last time out, and the winner of this race has gone on since and won again. I still don't quite know how, didn't get the job done, but the cheek pieces go on, which I think is a fascinating angle, first time for those. I'm really, really hopeful of a massive run. You go back through, I thought the run in Ireland earlier on in the season, you know, in the Irish Oaks, finishing second to a very good horse. I'm fairly convinced there's more to come from her. I think the cheek pieces will pull out enough. 10 to 1, 4 places on the race. I thought she was a cracking each way bet. Rafe Beckett's flying, 30% strike rate. And if we're getting end of season awards out, he's actually got a win for me. I think one of the trainers of the season, just consistently through the year. Fair play to him. And that's going to be my play in the race.
So Rafe Beckett with potentially the Trainer's Award of the season, Blue Stocking, the Underachiever of the season. Hopefully, if that award was given out in school, that was savage. What school you went to, Sam?
I think I was the winner of it, Kate.
3 years running, hands down. Definitely not. Right, Deck. What award did you get in school and who are you siding with?
I didn't get many awards in school, unfortunately, yeah, so we'll move on from that subject fairly rapidly, thank you. And on to the subject of above the curve from the Fillies and Mares. I think she's got a cracking chance. I think she's pretty overpriced at 10 to 1. I would make her about maybe 6 to 1 and 13 to 2 shot. Look, she's a lovely, straightforward, likeable and consistent filly. There's lots to like about her, but she is unexposed over 12 furlongs. She's only had 1 run over 12 in her career, and that was last time out in the Prix-Fermé form, which has obviously worked out since with Blue Rose Sen and whatnot. I thought she ran well. It looked like, I just think the ground was a little bit too quick for her, and she's not a filly blessed blessed with speed. She's quite a big galloping filly, and I just think she got done for toe, but she did stick around late. So I'm thinking 12 furlongs with ground of juice in it could really suit her. Now, again, whether or not she wants it this soft is debatable, and it'll obviously test her stamina. But she's by American Pharaoh out of a Galileo mare, and that cross actually worked well for another Joseph O'Brien filly called Pista a few years ago, who actually performed really well over 14 furlongs. So I'm hoping she'll stay the trip. She's definitely got a chance on pedigree. And the other thing that I think will help her get the trip is I don't see a lot of pace in the race. She does like to go forward. So if she could sit in the first 2 or 3 in a kind of a tactical run race, she'll bring forward that 10 furlong speed on bad ground. I think she's a big player. She's also got first-time cheek pieces on, which the O'Brien team did very well with applying to Lumiere Rock in the Blandford Stakes earlier in the season. So if they can eke out another couple of pounds, I think she's got a big each way chance. Given all the rain, I want to take on Free Wind. Jackie O was very high on my list, but I just thought her and Above the Curve for me ran to a similar level last time out, but Above the Curve is like over twice the price. So yeah, Above the Curve for me.
Both of you two going with fillies and first-time cheek pieces then. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But you're both taking on the favourite. And I'm also taking on the favourite, but a third and different selection as well. So we're wide open at the start of our previews in this week's show, because I'm with Jackie O in here, wanted to take on Free Wind, and I really like her. Of course, the question mark for her is going to be about her getting the trip. However, you look back at Aidan O'Brien's 2 last winners of this race, Magical in 2018, Hydrangea in 2017. Now, Magical had the 1 start over a mile 4 prior to this in the Arc, and prior to that she had only run over as far as 9 furlongs. Hydrangea had her first run over a mile 4 in this race as well. So I like to think that Aidan knows if his filly is going to be able to extend out over the mile 4 in this race. Jackie O, she's by Galileo, but she's out of a 7 furlong miling dam. And the way that she shapes in her races, I think this extra 2 furlongs may actually improve her, as shown in the Group 2 Blandford Stakes behind Lumiere Rock, a real eye-catcher coming from further back than the winner. And I just think that it proved that she was unlucky in that then on her next start, where she reversed that form with Lumiere Rock at Longchamp last time out, as we've just seen in the Group 1 Prix de l'Opera. She's a solid type, and again she improved last time out, so hopefully further improvement again for Jackie O for me. Sam?
Blue stocking for me.
OK, and Dec?
I'm going with Above the Curve, who I think is a very big price.
Oh, OK, nice prices all around. And again, do let us know your own selections for the race in the comments section below. As we move on to the QE2, of course, the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 1 mile at 3:05. We have Paddington, Tahiyra, Nashwa, Big Rock, Chaldean, all declared. But Dec, who are you backing?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this race. For me, this is the race of the day at Ascot on Saturday. A deep renewal. You know, I think we've got the winner of the 2,000 guineas, the winner of the Irish 2,000 guineas, the St James's Palace Stakes, and the winner of the Irish 1,000 guineas as well. The classic form, plenty on here. I'm somewhat hedging my bets a little bit here, because I did put up Nashwa anti-post a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very happy with the position I have on her. I just think her and Paddington are a notch above these. I really do, and that's including Tahiyra. You know, you should never really kind of look at collateral form kind of and have it really solid, but on a line through Remarque of Rafe Beckett's, I just do not see how Tahiyra beats Nashwa. Now, look, I'm not saying Tahiyra can't win. That's a silly thing to say about horses, because anything can happen. But I'm happy with my position on Nashwa. But I do think at this stage in the market, Paddington, I think, is going to be the most likely winner. Look, he's had an incredible season. He's been one of the stars of the season, absolutely no doubt. Tough, consistent, versatile, and just kept on getting better and better. I thought Aidan seemed to be very disappointed with his run in the Juddmonte and suggested that he was quite a little bit below his best. I don't think he was. I think he ran his race. He just bumped into a little bit of a monster in Mostadaf, who got a very good Frankie Dettori ride. The drop to 8 furlongs on ground with plenty of juice and is not going to be an issue for him at all. So yeah, up the bear. Paddington for me in the QE2, please. Up
the bear. I am agreeing with you, where, as you said, Dec, you've kind of hedged your bets between our anti-post preview of this race where we sided with Nashwa. Happy to still to be sitting on that. But now with Paddington, for the sake of this show, well, I'm doubling down because I had Paddington in the antipodes. I'm with Paddington again here for all of the reasons you've just said. Now, we did see him drastically shorten up because of the rain and because of, we know that he'll deal with conditions basically better than most. We don't know if Tahiyra will want it, don't know if Nashwa will want it. Paddington, no problem then on this ground. And you just said yourself, Dec, I don't think he was at his best when he was third in the Juddmonte International. Behind Mostahdaf, he was given that brilliant ride. Nashwa, of course, did manage to run him down, but she has boosted that form herself anyway, with that solid run in the Irish Champions Stakes. But I still think Paddington's capable of reversing the form. So we're both with Paddington. Sam, are you going to join us? I'm
sticking with Tahiyra. The ground is obviously a worry, but one thing I would say, her 2 runs on soft has seen her win and has seen her just touched off in the 1,000 Guineas at Newmarket, and that was really tough conditions that day. So it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I can understand the concern, but you know, Dermot Well's a master, especially at this meeting. He's got a cracking record here. Anything he sends to Ascot deserves respect, but she's obviously got to take a step forward, and I do take Dec's point regarding the collateral form, but I think she's unexposed enough that there could be more in the tank. I also think it's quite interesting, her run style. I wouldn't want to see her too far back here, and trying to work out where the pace is going to come from. We've had a conversation about this, Dec. Obviously, the French horses, naturally, where I think a lot of us are pointing to, but you were telling me that in an interview this week, they said they may opt to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, Christopher Head just said he seems to suggest they were getting sick of teeing up races for everyone else, so a change of tactics could be on the cards. Again, that could be him double bluffing, you don't really know. I think there's probably enough speed in there. I don't think Caldine will be too far away either. Willie High Royal, I think, is a horse that needs to go forward as well. It could get a little bit tactical if Big Rock doesn't go forward, but he's got form over 10 furlongs, and he got outpaced basically last time out at Paris Longchamp on ground too quick. I think they need to make use of him myself.
Be interesting to see, but Tahiyra for me, Kate, is going to be where I'm going to keep my colours to the mast. For all I'm a massive Paddington fan, it's just more of a price factor that I'm willing to take the chance that she can take a step forward. I do think it's interesting that it's this stage of the season that we're seeing her take on the boys, but like I say, I'm not going to question Dermot Well's methods.
No, none of us ever should, to be fair, should we? So at least you're sticking with your antipode selection as well, then siding with Tahiyra. Dec and I are both with Paddington. Again, do let us know your own selections for what is a fascinating race in the comments section below. Now we move on to the big one. This is, of course, the Group 1 Champion Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs at 3:45. Now, this could change in the market somewhat from what we're seeing at present, because as we record, Horizon Door still heads away as the 11-4 market leader. But Sam, what are we doing with this race for now, at least?
Yeah, it's a tricky puzzle, isn't it? Because if you knew where the race was being run, Mostahdaf looks a huge price at 11-2, and that will be the big change, I suspect, when we get confirmation of what happens with the track, and John Gosden's going to walk it Saturday morning. A couple of other pointers in here. Point Lonsdale was a much bigger price, I think 66-1 when we put in. We've seen a little bit of each way money for him. His record on soft and heavy, I suppose, is where people are getting that kind of idea from. Flicking through the field, though, it is a really intriguing contest. And I think Declan have come down on the same horse in King of Steel. I tipped him up recently and I really liked him anti-post. That hasn't changed. He's a big horse. I know he's got a mixed record, I suppose, on softer conditions, having won his debut at Nottingham on soft before, arguably blowing out at Doncaster and heavy ground. But I'm more than happy to give him another chance. That doesn't concern me too much. I think he's a really intriguing runner. His run last time out when he was 4th, I thought was a fair enough run behind very good horses. I struggle to understand why he's not a little bit closer to the favourite in the betting at the moment. But that's my take. I'll leave some meat on the bones for Dec to explain why we're doubling up here.
Yeah, look, it's a hard race, I think, to get to grips at the moment. We don't know if Mostahdaf's going to run on the form we've seen this season. He's comfortably the best horse. He's also a potential pace angle in the race because he went forward last time out. So if he doesn't run, Point Lonsdale could maybe get a bit of a freebie up front. But if he needs to win, I don't think he's going to out-sprint these, even on bad ground. He's going to need to go a gallop. So it's hard to be very firm on this, but I'm with King of Steel as well, as Sam said. Yeah, to be fair, when he ran third in the King George, there was plenty of juice in the ground. ground that day. Yeah, that even maybe a little bit softer, I think. They went a hell of a gallop that day, and you just wonder as well, was he maybe on the slowest part of the track early? Because Hookham and Westover raced quite wide. They were 2 or 3 wide off the rail. He raced down on the inside. And that day as well, I didn't think he stayed. He definitely didn't stay as well as Hookham or Westover. So I think ground with juice in it over 10 furlongs is absolutely perfect for him. Look, he ran a cracker in the Irish Champion Stakes, just got too far out of his ground on a quick surface where at a meeting horses weren't coming back to them. A little bit of a worry that he hung there that day because he's a big horse, and you just wonder, could it leave a mark? But the vibes coming out of the Roger Varian yard, he's been in good order this season. He's drawn in 1, which I think is interesting. I think that means Frankie's going to have to get the hood off quickly and go forward. I think we could see Frankie sitting in the first 3 or 4 here. I don't think he'll be held up like he has been in some of his previous races, and hopefully that will keep Kia Giraption very happy.
For a week.
Yeah.
For now. Yeah, Frankie Dettori, though, he won't be worrying too much about that, taking the ride, of course, on King of Seal. Now, we disagreed at the top of the show in our first 2 races. Now, we've had a bit too much agreement, I feel, in the last couple, so I'm going to be taking the lads on. And I'm taking them on with Mustardaf, my anti-post selection. So, again, doubling down on that. Now, of course, this has been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it? Which track they're going to run on, we still don't know yet. Whichever they end up on, it's going to change the complexion of this race. If it's on the inside track, on the good to soft from the last showing, but of course with plenty of rain about, I still want to be with Mustardaf should he take his chance, because I feel I've got a bit of a free hit with him in this race now, because if it's too testing, the Gosdens won't run him, even with a first Trainers' Championship on the line with the licence in the name of both John and Thady Gosden, and of course Shadwell looking to seal the champion owner as well. But even with those factors, I don't think they'd be wasting a dart for just those reasons by running Mustardaf. And as a result of the weather, Mustardaf, I mean, he touched 7-1. Now, clearly that didn't last all that long, 11-2 now. But I made the point last week where he's the most talented horse in the lineup, as you said, Dec. So, and he also has the best form from this year as well. So why would I abandon him now at that price? And my colleague, Andrew Mount, he made the point where he said, well, he's by Frankel. Frankel won this exact race on ground he hated. Now, Frankel was not an 11-2 shot to be doing that. Now, we're not saying that Mustardaf is Frankel by any means, but you can see the progeny line that we're taking the angle in about, and especially with that price, every horse has its price. And for me, for the most talented one, Mustardaf, I can't ignore him at that.
You're going to absolutely hate me, Kate. There's a little bit of me that hopes he doesn't run, because I would love to see him in the Breeders' Cup turf taking on a Gus Roden. I'm desperate to see Mustardaf winging around Santa Anita on quick ground, so I do apologise.
Apology not accepted. But yeah, I mean, he's got that, hasn't he, though, in the locker down the line.
Yeah.
But as I say, I'm just taking a free hit if he doesn't run.
Good point as well, Kate, to make. Anyone that's betting on the racing now, obviously if he is a non-runner, it's a day of market, so you're going to get your stake back. So I think you found a good angle there. I'm begrudgingly annoyed that you found a good angle there when I'm on something at half the price.
I'm feeling a lot of love from that direction right now. Thank you so much to a pair of you two for trying to boost my my confidence about Mustardaf all the same. Right, now, again, do let us know your own selections for that race in the comments section below as we move over to the SkyPad to give you our best bets for the weekend. Right, the big one now, our best bets for the weekend. Dec, would you like to kick us off, please?
Yes, I think we're all knocking heads with the nap this week, which is going to be good fun in the WhatsApp after the stairs is run. Yeah, the nap for me is going to be Kyprios. Look, we're going to need the Ballydoyle team and Aidan O'Brien to work their magic. It's a second run back off a long break, but you know, this is a horse I always felt we've been scratching the surface with him. He's lazy, he's idle, he'll only do enough, and I think the better the race, the better he will be. I thought his comeback run in the Irish Ledger, considering Aidan O'Brien said he needed it badly, was a very good run. So yeah, up to Kyprios for the nap this week. The next best we have already covered. It's Above the Curve. I think she's drawn well to sit prominently again in a race that lacks a bit of speed. If first time cheek pieces unlock a bit of further improvement, I think she's badly overpriced at 10-1 in a very open race. And then the long shot is actually going to come in the fillies and mares as well. That is Terms of Endearment. She comes here on the back of a big career best and bad ground in the Give Thanks Stakes. You know, she clearly clearly handles bad going, clearly stays 12 furlongs well, and she's got a little bit of class, I think. I think on my own number, she doesn't actually have that much to find with Jackie Owen above the curve, but she's a little bit of a bigger price. Good old Tom Marquand will need to work his magic from stall 13, but conditions could really suit her. So yeah, Terms of Endearment is going to be the long shot this week.
Oh, the same race as the next best as well, but Kyprios the Nap. Now, not to tee it up or anything, but that might be quite interesting, Sam, going to your best bets.
Yeah, let's have some proper beef, Deck, in the first race, because I think the market is slightly wrong, and I thought Trushan should be a little bit closer to the favourites price. Ground for me came into my thinking here. Kyprios, I love the horse, but going back through his record, Deck, I would have some concerns about how soft it may end up. Trushan, I was made to look incredibly silly because I wrote the horse off, didn't I, in France, and he duly delivered. That wasn't the best race in the world, I appreciate that, but I still think there's a little bit more in the tank. We won't have to worry about the classic Willie Won't He run, and I think the horse will go really well at a price. King of Steel, we've already chatted a lot about him. He's my next best, and I'm fairly confident he will give Frankie at least one chance of a farewell winner till we see him back at Royal Ascot next year. Let's not kid ourselves. And the long shot. This is quite an interesting horse, and again, we'll appreciate the more rain, the better for Latham. This was actually a little bit of an each-way nibble as well in the Balmoral that finishes the card. Curious with this horse, the two most recent runs, he dwelt at Goodwood, and then at York, there was enough there to suggest I think there is a big race of this nature. He's won a big field handicap as well, going back to the Curragh. That was on soft heavy. Marker 95 doesn't look a given, but I was interested to see some early support for him, and I think 14s is just about as short as I'd want to play him, but I think he's an each-way stab in an open-looking race.
Yeah, in the Balmoral always looks a good race to be trying a big price horse in as well. Now, we did mention that our best bets are all sort of intertwining about the long distance cup. Now, I haven't actually gone for my nap in the long distance cup because my nap is the aforementioned Kinross in the Group 1 Champions Sprint Stakes for all of the reasons I stated beforehand. He's done me so many turns this season. I can forgive him not winning last time out. Simply was one of those racing things to happen to him. He still ran a mighty race in the Foray, showing he can go back and run to the same high level when winning the race the year prior. So I'm hoping he can do that in the Champions Sprint Stakes, winning this year for a second year running, because if he runs to the level of last year, I don't think there's anything in here that can beat him. Now, Sam, I'm with you with Trushan for the next best. Sorry, Deck, where we didn't cover this race in the main body of the show, but it is a fascinating one in the long distance cup. Now, I'm not making the mistake from the last couple of times with Trushan. I've tried to take him on. He's put me firmly in my place. And the old adage as if you can't beat him, join him. Well, that's what I'm doing now with Trushan. Cue him running flat. But hopefully that won't be the case. Bidding to win this race for a fourth consecutive year. And that price about Kyprios, again, I really like the horse, but it just doesn't interest me, given he almost certainly would have needed his reappearance, but it wasn't a great Irish St. Ledger all the same, and we're purely taking it on trust with him that he's still the brilliant horse he was on the back of that lengthy layoff. And my long shot also comes in the Balmoral handicap at 425. That is Blue for You, who hasn't had the ideal season, evidently, but I'm just hoping it's all going to come together for him finally now, where he was a winner at York in July off of a marker 99, so £3 lower than here. Sees him £2 wrong at the weights, but he's carrying the same, well, he's running off the same mark as in this race last year. Probably ran below himself in that, really, but he's coming into this race on the back of the race you really want to be siding with, the 7 furlong Heritage Handicap 2 weeks prior to Champions Day. That has produced 3 of the last 5 winners of the Balmoral, and last time out was a much better effort from him than in the same race last year. The refitted tongue tie again here that he wore last time out. Hopefully we'll see blue for you to a good effect as my long shot in the Balmoral. Right, that is everything from us on this week's show. A big thank you to Deck and to Sam for all of their hard work as per usual. A big thank you to you at home for watching. Remember to watch all of Ascot's action live on Sky Sports Racing. We'll be back at the same time again next week to preview a mix of action from Cheltenham, Newbury and Doncaster.